Hey, welcome back. We have some very interesting pens here. Excited to get into these with you. I'll be honest, I was a little bit on the fence on whether to check out one of these. Driving factors being cost and potential reliability, but the designs are so cool. So you can see this is from Polish Custom Knives, and these are the Herman Epika. And of course, in true Pocket Priorities fashion, always overdoing it, I got two. So let's see what we think. We're gonna see one more of a plain Jane, one more of a anodized, and we'll see if our friends at Herman, I've handled one or two of their knives. We'll see if they continue their trend of really nice work. Let's start with just this one. No additional info on the box, just the Herman on the top here, it looks like. Okay, a very nice, looks like maybe this is removable. Ooh, wow, that is like heavy duty. This is Herman pens, Herman Knives pen, Epika, number 38. So let's see what we think. Interesting, I don't quite understand that. Maybe that's just for looks. Check that out. And I threw in another extra space pen there. But let's see. This one's kind of a rose gold. I thought it might be more of a bronze color, but it's kind of a rose gold now. I'm seeing it in person. And yeah, you just click here. Ooh. How do you, oh, and then you click back. Click here. Click back. I'll tell you the thing I didn't realize as much, which is that it's a little shorter than I thought it was going to be. But I pull it off because, you know, with this type of mechanism, you don't have like a bolt or something. So it's quite good if you prefer a shorter pen, but you don't want it to be scratching your hand when you're using it. It's really nice. And it's a clever little mechanism. Interesting. Very interesting. Pocket clip. Very nicely done. Let's check out the second one here. Huh, that loosened, the pocket clip loosened up because I pushed it in the wrong direction, so that's kind of interesting. Now apparently you can't service this mechanism on its own. It's got like loose ball bearings and stuff. I should say on your own. It's been a long day. It's 10 p.m. I flew back from New York today. Interesting, very fidgety, very satisfying. I'm pleasantly surprised with the action. It feels better than I expected it to. So let's get this second one out here. I think this build is like kind of my go-to build. If I were to carry one, that's kind of what I was buying this other build for. That one, I was sort of interested in getting one of them that had a number on it. I don't know if they're going to be numbering them forever. So the first 25 had the numbers, and then I don't know how many others will have those, will be numbered. It looks like this one is numbered though. Yeah, number 70. That's right. They are still numbered on these newer ones, but I don't know if it's numbered just on the COA or on the pen itself. So let's get into the pen. And I think this is going to be the one that a lot of you are going to resonate more with. And yeah, you still got a number on there. So that's really cool. Yeah, that's a really nice build there. And this one's got like a little bit of an eggshell finish to it, which is really nice in hand. It feels really nice. It's smooth but grippy. What's interesting on the mechanism is it kind of ramps before this pocket clip moves. The first part of the throw here, there's no movement in the pocket clip. It's just at the end there. So I think you kind of must be loading it up when you push the pocket clip or something. Very interesting mechanism. Let's see what the consistency is like from one to the other. This one has a little bit of that eggshell as well. Okay. Yeah, they're pretty darn consistent. Herman Knives does a good job there. Now let's see if we've got any tip wiggle. A little bit of tip wiggle. I'd be a little concerned about that. Let's take a look at how it writes. So this one goes over here. This is this one. I've only felt one little bit. Yeah, you can feel it once in a while. Yeah, I would hope for a little bit of a tighter tolerance there. That would make it a little nicer. So there's a tiny bit of tip wiggle. That's one of my rubs with pens is it going to have some tip wiggle or not. But overall, and I think again, this is kind of that more standard. I think they even have more of a satin finish. Something like this is definitely going to resonate with folks. I'm just going to try throwing it in the pocket here. The pocket clip is great. It might be a little loose, if anything. Sometimes the pocket clips are like too tight. This one might be a little loose, if anything. That's so interesting how it must like load up and then this kind of releases it. I would have expected the opposite, which is that this loads it up and then this releases it back, but based on the feel, it's the opposite. I mean, it must be loading up the spring down here. I guess it doesn't have to be, huh? A lot of people did watch a lot of the video. Let's take a look inside. Okay, the spring is indeed in the usual spot. But let's see if we can learn anything from looking at the mechanism here. Yeah, interesting. It definitely loads with the clip, not the other way around. So it kind of has like double load because there's one load when you push it out, right? When you're pushing the pen down, you're kind of pushing it out. Really afraid to do this with that. Got a little bit of paper here. This is always something I just recently learned, unfortunately. I wish I had learned it sooner. Not that I specifically scratched up any pens, but it seems like a really important thing to know how to do. So you kind of have some load from the spring down here when you're pushing that way. When you're pushing this way, you have some load for whatever ends up allowing this to pop back. So you're loading some sort of spring this way if I'm feeling it right. It's almost like dual direction springs in two different directions is what it feels like. I have to go watch that video again. It's been maybe a month since I watched the video and I can't remember how the mechanism works off the top of my head here. But let's give you some more close-ups here because I think that's one of the best parts of this pen is probably the aesthetic. The machining is quite nice. Very impressive. Pricing, let's talk about that. Biggest challenge with these is right now the distribution is in Poland. Polish custom knives. That's $60 shipped to the US. So I bought two here, 30 a piece. $217 for the pen, 30 a piece for the shipping. It's a lot. That's a $247 pen. And these are just the basic ones. They're also making fancier ones. So you start to put that all in perspective and yeah, that's not gonna be for everyone. It's funny though, I really did not expect the pocket clip to go this way. For some reason, I thought it would go the other way. And I like something about that, and I haven't quite figured out what that is yet. Now it's taking me a second to figure out how to hold it and get the pocket clip to go with one hand. But now I got it. A little sharp on the pocket clip here on this edge, which makes it a little less fun to fidget with. If this was a little flatter on the edge here, it'd be a little more fidgety for me. But everything's really tight. Definitely no rattles. Really tight, just quality feel. Sometimes I get some of these machine pens and the feel is just not quality. feel here is very quality. So last couple things, let's just get a couple measurements in. You're looking at just under 5 inches, 4.875 long, probably about the same when it's deployed or not, maybe give or take an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch. And then on weight, 1.265 for this particular full titanium build. And then with the ano, not unusual to add a little bit for the material that ends up on the pen with the ano. We'll just do one more little close up here. Still looking for consistency. Everything looks really good. Let's see if this one has the same. Now this one has less tip wiggle. This has none. That's really interesting because this is the newer one. Now let's see if it still has that tip wiggle now that I've reassembled it. Yeah, that one has tip wiggle. This one has none. Whoa, that's concerning. That's like a pretty big difference in tolerance. The clearances are so different that it tells you that their tolerances may not be quite what you would want. So that's very interesting to me. And definitely worth noting. I wish I hadn't found that out 10 or 11 minutes into the video, but if you stuck with me, then you got the reward of finding that out. So I'm going to see if this is a one-off, and I'm going to get my hands on a few more, and we're going to get down to the bottom of this tip wiggle thing, because that's a really big difference between those two. So that is all for now. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll be coming back to you with more content on the Herman Knives Epika. Overall, a lot to like here. I'm going to spend some time with it, and we're going to do a little bit more experimentation. All right, take care.